I remember as I was taking a bath, out of nowhere, my babysitter ends up walking in and saying, Bubba, can I join you? And the craziest part was that she was already in a towel ready to get in. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to a super embarrassing but crazy story. Now, today's story all takes place back when I was in high school, and this was my grade 9 year. Now, in grade 9, I was just an ordinary guy, to be honest, and no, I wasn't big of a player just yet. Yes, I had experience of doing the Devil's Tango, but it was never my main goal to pull girls because I was so focused on just myself and I. But going on with the story, I remember one day in my grade 9 year, I was heading home from school, and right as I got home, I remember I ended up seeing my parents sitting in the living room looking at me saying, Bubba, you're finally back. We need to talk to you. Why, Mom? What's going on? And then my dad ends up saying, well, Bubba, you see, me and your mom, we're leaving and we're going to be going away for just a weekend, but we're going to be giving you a babysitter, okay? What? A babysitter? Mom, Dad, I'm in grade 9. I don't need a babysitter. That's so dumb. No, Bubba, you need a babysitter because you need to catch up on your schoolwork, and we know if we leave you alone, you'll just play video games in the house all day. I remember I got super annoyed when my parents told me that, but in a way, they weren't wrong. And right as I went upstairs to my room, I ended up hearing a knock on the door. I remember I ran downstairs and opened the door wide open, and I saw it was the girl that was supposed to take care of me. Except this babysitter did not look like any ordinary babysitter, because I remember she had the biggest rack I've ever seen, like insanely big cherries. And not only that, her peach was bigger than Mount Everest. I remember she looked over at me and said, oh, you must be the guy I'm taking care of. Hi, nice to meet you. Hey, how's it going? And I remember even when my dad came to the front door, he was even shocked by what my mom ended up getting online to take care of me. But anyways, my parents ended up kissing me goodbye, and they ended up getting inside their van and leaving. And right at that moment, I ended up just staring at my babysitter in absolute awe. Like, no joke, she looked like she could literally be a supermodel. It was so random how she was just taking care of me. And that's when I asked her, wait, so I have a question. Do you like babysit like full time? Oh, no, I actually like do like other stuff, but I don't want to talk about it. Okay, no, it's cool. I get it. And then I remember I ended up going upstairs to my room playing video games, and she ended up just hanging out in the living room and kind of just started walking around the house. I remember a couple hours went by, and she ended up coming upstairs to my room, and she ended up giving me a grilled cheese sandwich. And honestly, I was in absolute shock when she gave me it, because most babysitters, they would even forget to feed me, but the fact that she did honestly blew my mind. I remember after handing me the grilled cheese, she ended up looking at me and asked me a question, and she said, Bubba, I was just wondering, do you guys have a bathroom here? I mean, it's a house, so I hope there's a bathroom here. Oh, I meant like, can you show me where it is? I remember I showed her where the bathroom was, and then she saw I had a massive bathtub, because back when my old house, when I used to live with my parents, we had a bathroom that was pretty big, and there was a giant bathtub and a stand-up shower right beside it. So I remember when she walked into the bathroom and saw the bathtub, she looked at me and said, oh, wow, you have a really nice bathtub. Yeah, I guess I do. I don't really know. We don't really use it that much. Really? But like there's jets and everything in it. Oh my goodness, you should take a bath. Wait, what? You want me to take a bath? Why? Do I smell? No, I'm just saying like it's good to take a bath like every once in a while. It's good relaxation from all the stress from those video games you get. I remember I was really just in shock because how did she know I get stressed from video games? Like you guys do understand, every time I play a video game, no joke, I end up getting really stressed out because I'm a really competitive person. If you guys ever watch me play video games, sometimes I go live, by the way, on Twitch, and no joke, the amount of rage I get is insane. But going on with the story, I remember I ended up telling her, yeah, I mean, you're right, I do get stressed out. Maybe I could take a bath. That's not a bad idea. Okay, perfect. You go in your room and get ready and to take a bath, and me, I'm gonna go prepare some things. Okay. I remember I ended up leaving the bathroom, and I remember hearing her turn on the bathtub and let the water run. And as I was in my room, I was thinking to myself, why would this babysitter want me to take a bath? It makes no sense. Like, why didn't she just go in the bathtub herself if she liked it so much? But then let's just say afterwards, the most insane thing ended up happening, because I remember right as I ended up getting my towel and I put it on me while wearing absolutely nothing, I saw her and she said, okay, well, I'm gonna leave you alone for a bit. Enjoy the bath bath I drew for you. And she left the bathroom. At that moment, I just hopped in there, not wearing anything, absolutely vibing. I even got my phone and started playing Angry Birds as I was in the bath, and I was living like a king. Honestly, at that moment, I realized I actually really like baths, but over time, I actually changed my opinion on that because, well, let's be honest, if you guys take baths, do you guys actually enjoy soaking in your own filth? Like, isn't that kind of disgusting? Anyways, at that moment, I was enjoying the bath that she drew, and no joke, as I was just laying down sitting, I ended up hearing a knock on the door. I ended up yelling, "Oh, I'm not done yet." "Oh, that's okay, Bubba. I wasn't expecting you to be done." And she walks into the bathroom, and my eyes absolutely opened wide because when I looked at her walking into my bathroom while I'm in the bathtub still not wearing nothing, she looks at me and I saw that she was in only a towel, and she said, "Here, step aside. There's room for both of us. You want to take a bath with me?" is what I told her. And this girl, she ended up just taking off her towel, and her cherries and everything were out, and she ended up just sitting right beside me in the bathtub. At that moment, I didn't know what to do, what to say, and I'm just sitting there super awkwardly, just in shock. And I remember trying my best not to look at her too much because I knew, knowing me and how active I am in the Devil's Tango, 100%, if I looked at her even a glimpse more, I would get bricked. I remember I'm just looking towards the wall and she's just enjoying the bath, and she looks at me and says, "Bubba, is there something wrong? Is there something on my face you're not looking at me for?" And that's when I looked at her, and that's when I got bricked. No joke, I got so bricked to the point where she noticed that something was growing in the bathtub, and she looks at me and says, "Oh, okay, well, this is awkward. I didn't think you hit puberty that fast." Bro, what was this girl saying? No joke, I honestly got super embarrassed, and it got to the point where I didn't want to be in there anymore. You guys probably thought I ended up doing the Devil's Tango with her, but I honestly didn't. I was so embarrassed to the point where I got out of the bathtub with my bricked eggplant, and I literally put on a towel and I went straight to my room, dried off as fast as I could because I had carpet floors. I did not want to get soaking wet, and I just laid in bed. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I ended up beating the eggplant, but I had to just to get rid of it. I remember like half an hour later though, I ended up hearing a knock on my door, and it was the babysitter, and she was like talking through the door saying, "Bubba, I understand if you're embarrassed and you don't want to talk about it, but like, do you need any help?" Any help? In my mind, I didn't know what to do, so I ended up just locking my door and I just went to bed. Until the next morning, honestly, me and her, we ended up not talking for the next 2 days while she was at my place, and I just tried any way to avoid her. I gotta say, I'm not proud of that day whatsoever, but at the same time, like, what would you guys do? And if you guys would do the Devil's Tango, then fall for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys. Okay, so there's a lot of things that a babysitter is supposed to do. Like, for example, take care of you, make sure you're feeling all right, but making sure that you take a shower and then showering with you is something that a babysitter shouldn't do. And honestly, we'll get more into it, but before that happens, make sure you guys press that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do, and honestly changes my life and the channel. But other than that, let's just jump straight into this insane story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to a really embarrassing story. So today's story all takes place back when I was in grade 8, and in grade 8, I'm not gonna lie, I was a really stubborn kid. So stubborn to the point where my parents really did not like taking care of me, and they ended up leaving me with a babysitter. Now, I knew this babysitter already. She's babysat for me before, and I'm not gonna lie to you, she was just some basic 17-year-old that would just take care of me. And I remember one time she ended up coming over after my parents both had to go on a work trip together, and basically she ended up having to stay for 3 days. Now, I remember when she first came, she kind of just looked at me and shrugged, but at the same time, she was 17. So as a teenager, I'm gonna be real with you, I don't think teenagers should actually be babysitters. Like, I feel like teenagers are not good babysitters at all because they're still hitting puberty, and as a kid, you're hitting puberty, and two people hitting puberty together and going through really weird things together is not a good idea to make one of them in charge. But going on though, she was a lot older than me, and she basically was supposed to babysit me. So I remember when she first came in, she just, like I said, looked at me and went to go on her phone and basically talk to all her friends. As for me, well, the only thing I knew how to do back when I was in grade 8 was to play video games. So I ended up going upstairs, playing on my Xbox 360, and just sat there playing games the entire time. Now, I remember throughout these 3 days, she would only check on me like once a day, and she would not feed me, she would not do anything, and to be honest, she acted like I wasn't even there half of the time. Like, for example, when I came downstairs to get like a granola bar or anything to eat, she would just look at me and just shrug and then just go back to being on her phone. It's actually mind-blowing how often people can can stay on their phones for and how long they can stay on their phones for, because it is severely toxic. Now, I remember it got to a point where it was on the third day. And on the third day, I remember she ended up basically like kind of started, I guess, getting worried about me. And me, I was just in my room yelling and swearing, like, you know, a bunch of slurs at people on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Yeah, I was one of those people. And let's be real here, back in 2014, things were a lot different with everyone being so, I mean, soft, I guess. And basically, I remember as I was like yelling and stuff over the Xbox microphone at people online, out of nowhere, I remember my babysitter ends up coming up the stairs and saying, bro, why are you being so loud? Like, can't you be any louder? I'm in the middle of a game. Still, like, just be quiet, Bubba. Like, you can't just be yelling all the time. And I remember as she was yelling at me, she ended up taking a big sniff of my room and she noticed how it was a mess in there. Like, there were banana peels everywhere. There were wrappers. There were like McDonald's cups because she got super lazy to make actual food. So she ordered McDonald's for me. Babysitter of the year? Maybe. I don't know. McDonald's is convincing, but going on. And she saw basically how my room was an absolute mess. So I remember as I was playing games, she ended up basically starting to clean my room, and she was cleaning my room and kept yelling at me over and over. And then I remember as one time she ended up walking past me and she took a big whiff of my head, and she noticed that I smelled worse than the boys' locker room. I smelled terrible. Like, it got to the point where I'm not gonna lie to you, my hair was super greasy. I was super disgusting. And to be honest, like, my hands, like, they felt gross. Me at the time, since I was in grade 8, I didn't really care for my hygiene. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, it got to points where in my gaming life, I would even like just pee in a bottle. Like, I've gotten to that point. If you haven't peed in a bottle, are you really a gamer? Anyways, going on with the story, I remember basically she noticed that I smelled really bad. And she looked at me and said, Bubba, take a shower. You can't tell me what to do. Bubba, yeah, I can. I'm your babysitter. Now go take a shower. No, I don't want to. Bubba, I'm serious. This is not a joke. Go take a shower or I'll make you. What do you mean you'll make me? At that point, she ended up going downstairs and unplugging the internet. And at that point, I was mad. Like, I am not joking, guys. Like, I was so upset to the point where I remember I walked up to her and said, oh yeah, why don't you take a shower? You smell bad too, loser. And this is where the story gets really, really awkward. Because I remember me and her, what ends up happening is that she ends up grabbing my wrist and dragging me to the bathroom. She drags me to the bathroom. She ends up basically forcing me to hop into the shower. And I'm like, fine, I'll take a shower. But like I said earlier, I was a really stubborn kid. So what ended up happening was I ended up sitting down on my toilet and I basically started playing video games. I just sat down and started playing games on my phone. It's crazy on how many devices you can play video games on nowadays. I remember when I was playing games on my phone, she ended up like leaving for like 20 minutes, but when she came back, she ended up hearing through the door that I was just playing Angry Birds, and she got so upset to the point where she walks into the bathroom and says, that's it, you're taking a shower. I didn't know what she was gonna do, because like, what, she's just gonna throw me in there naked? Like, she's not allowed to do that. And this babysitter ended up finding my weakness to go into the shower. She ended up basically taking off all her clothes in front of me in the bathroom, and she ended up hopping into her shower herself and says, Bubba, this is the one time you get to go into the shower with a girl. Decide if you want to go into it now or later. And at that moment, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was convinced. I ended up basically taking off my clothes and also going into the shower, and basically she ended up taking a shower with me. It's crazy how much fun we were having. Like, it's really cool to like have someone to like rub your back and like, you know, reach the spots that you can never reach, and also do a bunch of other things. Because yes, we ended up doing the devil's tango because she noticed how I got bricked. Yeah, my eggplant got bricked. It's no surprise. But going on, I remember we were in there for like more than an hour and we were wasting a lot of water. But since it was the third day, my parents ended up coming home that day, and they came home pretty early when me and her were in the shower still. And this is where the story gets really, really embarrassing, because right as me and her get out of the shower, put on our towels, and start heading towards my room to get our clothes on, my parents saw me and her coming out of the bathroom with the towels on, and yeah, let's just say she got a big talking to. Now, I'm not gonna lie, showering with someone was a really good experience, but showering with your babysitter maybe was not the smartest thing I ever did. Anyways, guys, that is basically it for today's embarrassing story. Make sure you guys press that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, follow for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys. I remember as I was in the shower, out of nowhere, I ended up seeing my babysitter walk into the bathroom, and she says to me, I'm gonna sit on the toilet and make sure you wash yourself right. And I'm staring at her with nothing on, thinking, what is this babysitter doing? Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another really embarrassing story. So this story all takes place in my grade 9 year, and I'm not gonna lie, in grade 9, I was not a smart kid, nor was I a genius. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't like Jimmy Neutron, but one thing's for sure, I had my priorities straight. I had a certain way of living that I basically basically wanted for myself in grade 9. And yes, it was to focus on women and doing the devil's tango and study the arts of how to woo a woman. But not only that, another thing I really cared about was video games. And playing video games was my strong suit. To be honest, growing up, the only escape I had from this reality of, well, pain and misery, which sounds really depressing, but in reality, it wasn't that bad. But my greatest escape was playing video games. And I remember in my grade 9 year, I would play video games up to like 8 to 12 hours a day. And to be honest, I was such a perfectionist back when I was younger that when I would play a video game, I would always try to 100% it. Like, have you guys ever seen someone 100% a video game? It is literally impossible sometimes. And it takes a lot of hours to get into. Actually, if you guys have ever 100%ed a video game, comment down below because I'm actually curious. But going on with the story, I remember one time in my grade 9 year, I was coming home from school and I was excited to just do my daily routine of just going into my room and playing video games. But then out of nowhere, I remember as I was walking through my front door, my mom ended up coming out. She came out with a luggage and she said to me, "Oh, Baba, I'm gonna be leaving for a bit for a couple days to go visit your dad. So you're going to be home alone, but I hired a babysitter. I hope you're okay with that." At that moment, I didn't really care because I'm like, okay, just another babysitter. It's whatever. And I ended up basically going inside and not even saying bye to her since I was always upset since they always went on vacations. But at the same time, it is what it is. Going on though, I went straight into my room, sat down at my desk and started, you know, gaming and going on my computer and watching videos about how to beat this game that I got. And then out of nowhere, I ended up hearing a knock on the door. Now at this point, I knew it was the babysitter since no one else was home. And I went downstairs and opened the door for the babysitter. When I saw her, she was a cute girl with glasses and she looked at me and said, "Oh, hey, you must be Bubba, right?" "Yeah, hi. How you doing?" "Oh, I'm good. This is your house, right?" Yeah, I don't know why I would be in it if it wasn't my house." She started giggling when I said that, and I remember instantly at that moment, she started walking around my house as if she was an inspector. She started walking around saying things like, "Oh, like, are the couches supposed to be in this angle? Oh, did you guys not do your towels today? Like, where are the towels in the kitchen? Bubba, can you show me where the tissues are and where everything's supposed to be properly?" And every time she would go into a different room, she had always something else to complain about. Now, when it comes to video games, I'm a perfectionist, but in real life, I didn't really care where things were, but this babysitter clearly did. And I'm not joking, the first 2 hours of her being in my house, she just kept moving things and it even got to the point where she rearranged the living room to make sure that every couch was angled correctly towards the TV. I remember I found this super weird, and honestly, she started to remind me more and more of Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory, if Sheldon was a babysitter. But going on with the story, I remember I decided to basically leave her alone and let her do her own thing. I remember I went straight back upstairs, started playing my video game, and basically ignored her and did my own thing. But out of nowhere, as I'm playing my game, she ends up coming into my room and she saw that my room was a mess. Now, don't get me wrong, yes, I didn't do my laundry, and yes, maybe I had a pair of dirty underwear in the corner of my room, okay? But at the same time, for a babysitter to just walk in without knocking and start rearranging everything is weird. Like, yeah, if it was my mom, sure, I wouldn't complain because it's my mom, right? But for a babysitter to do it, now that's a little out of pocket. She started basically going through my closet, reorganizing it, and on top of that, she started reorganizing basically everything. I remember I turned around and I ended up looking at her saying, "Yo, you know you don't have to do that, right? Like, it's none of your business for what happens in my room. Bubba, you need to organize your room. Like, seriously? Like, what are you, a pig?" When she made that comment, I remember I was super annoyed and I just ended up turning around and ignoring her. And she just ended up shrugging her shoulders and getting back to work. Honestly, I didn't know what to say to this babysitter. I didn't know if I should yell at her, be mad at her, or even just tattletale on her. But at the same time, how am I going to complain to my mom that the babysitter was cleaning the house? Like, there's no way she would take that as a bad thing, right? And I want to say 10 minutes went by and she ended up going downstairs to the kitchen and start making food. Now, usually when babysitters make me dinner, it's usually some grilled cheese sandwich or mac and cheese or something really simple to make that usually takes like, what, 10 minutes to cook? But this babysitter, she was a perfectionist, like I said earlier. So I remember when she said, "Bubba, it's time to come down for food. Hurry up, it's gonna get cold." I ended up pausing my video game, went downstairs, and I was expecting something small and nothing crazy. But when I actually sat down on my kitchen table, I am not joking, I saw a really nice pasta. It was like fettuccine alfredo with mushrooms. Like, she made an amazing dish. And I'm not joking, like, this thing looked like it was straight out of a restaurant. I didn't even know my mom had the ingredients to make something this insane in the kitchen. I remember I looked at her and I started eating the food and I was amazed. Like, this babysitter can cook. So I ate her food and I finished it literally as fast as possible because I obviously wanted to go back to my video game, but at the same time, it was so good. And I looked at her and thanked her for the meal and she said, "Oh, no problem. I'm happy you enjoyed it." And right as I turn around and start heading upstairs, I remember she looks at me and says, "Wait, are you just going to go back upstairs and play your dumb video game? It's actually not a dumb video game, okay? It's a game that I actually enjoy. And second, yeah, I have nothing else to do. I finished all my homework. Well, I mean, you do kind of smell, so you could go take a shower. How about that? Okay, you know what? Sure, I'll go take a shower. I remember I ended up getting upstairs and I went to my bathroom and I ended up taking a shower. But I'm not joking. As I'm in the shower, washing my balls, out of nowhere, this babysitter ends up coming into the bathroom and she looks at me saying, oh, Bubba, here, let me sit on the toilet. Let me make sure you do this right. And I look at her thinking, what are you doing? She ends up sitting down and she starts reorganizing my bathroom as I'm literally in the bathroom taking a shower. And I'm just looking at her thinking, yo, like, is this normal for a babysitter to do? And that's not even the worst part, because after she finished reorganizing the bathroom, she ends up sitting back down on her toilet seat and she said, oh, make sure you wash your back. Here, do you want me to help you? No, I don't need your help. But by the time I said that, she ended up actually taking off her clothing and she ended up actually hopping into the shower with me just to wash my back. Like, bro, what in the world was going on? Obviously, one thing led to another, though. Since I saw her with nothing on in the shower with me, I ended up getting bricked. And well, one thing led to another. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. She noticed I was bricked and started giggling. No, me and her, we did not do the devil's tango. Obviously, because she was like in her 30s, I think, and I was only like, what, 14, turning 15 maybe? But I will say this, I did not know what to think or feel at that moment. I felt kind of violated, but at the same time, bricked up. I don't really know. But after the shower, I remember I ended up getting my towel on and I ran straight to my bedroom and I got my clothes on as fast as I could. I didn't know if I should tell my parents about what happened, but at the same time, are they really gonna believe me if I told them what happened? Because this babysitter literally cleaned the entire house and made everything perfect since she was a perfectionist. So I ended up deciding not to say anything and I sat back down on my PC and I started playing video games again. But as I was playing video games, I remember the babysitter ends up walking into my bedroom with a towel on and she looks at me saying, are you seriously gonna go back to playing that video game? Okay, serious question. Have you ever actually played video games? Well, no, I don't see a reason for them. I feel like they're like a time waste. Well, for me, they aren't. And actually, to be honest, I think you might be good at video games. Have you ever thought of maybe trying it? At that moment, I remember she ended up sitting down beside me and me and her, we actually ended up playing the video game that I was trying to beat 100%. And since this babysitter was a perfectionist, she ended up getting more addicted to the game than I was. And while one thing led to another, she ended up being my gaming partner and my babysitter. And me and her, we ended up playing video games till like 4 in the morning until the next day when out of nowhere, my parents ended up coming home. And me and this babysitter, we didn't realize we stayed up all night playing this game, but we did finish it 100%, so that was cool. As for my parents, well, they were upset that me and the babysitter stayed up all night playing video games, and well, that babysitter was never hired again. Honestly, don't get me wrong, I found it really weird that she watched me in the shower and stuff, but she was a cool gaming partner to hang out with. And you guys gotta tell me honestly, can you guys take a shower with the babysitter watching you? Because if not, then fall for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys.